What is going on, everybody? It's Roku and we're back with some more League of Legends content, more specifically Darius content, because this video is our Darius matchups tier list. Yes, it's our updated Season 11 matchups tier list where I'm going to go through every single matchup in top lane, every single relevant that is, and tell you guys how bad of a matchup they are or how free they are, what you should be doing into them, what you should be avoiding into them, and what you should be building. Pretty much every single thing you need to know in order to beat these matchups, or in some of the unbeatable ones to survive, because some champions in the game are, they exist just to make you tilt. So if you don't tilt, you're basically winning lane, right? So I'm going to explain all my tiers real quick. So the extreme tier is basically for the champions who are very, very hard counter picks, So like these champions, they're not difficult to play. You can't really easily beat them, and it's really difficult to basically survive in lane against them and win lane against them without jungle assistance. You're basically going to be playing under turret, or you're just going to be, needing camping from your jungler to get ahead in lane, right? The major is basically, it's mostly like a counter pick, but it either takes skill to play, so the person playing one of these champions has to play them like very well in order to be like a proper counter pick, or it's a counter pick like that's in their favor, but there are a few mistakes that you can exploit in order to turn the lane around and get a few kills here and there. Even matchups are matchups that are even skill lanes mostly, right? The better player wins most of the time. The minor matchups are basically matchups like the opposite of major. You should be winning most of the time, but these champions can kind of sometimes surprise you and kill you. Free lanes are basically just free. No matter what you do, no matter what you do or what happens, you should be able to kill them no matter what, or still have lane priority against them. I made this tier just for Darius because, let's be real, you should stop playing blind pick. And there are some champs here who are not top laners, so I've made this tier specially for them, right? So yeah, before we get right into it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, join our Discord, all that good stuff. Supports the channel, supports me, and when I'm supported, I can make more videos. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm going to start off alphabetically so that, for the people who are skipping through the video, it's actually easier to track their champions. Our first champion is Aatrox. Aatrox is a very skill matchup, right? And honestly, Darius is one of the matchups that Aatrox can do okay into, right? Aatrox is, Aatrox is very hard to play, but Aatrox with Darius is a very strict skill matchup, right? So it's an even matchup, and the winner basically is the better player. So against Aatrox, you can go either the Resolve tree with Second Wind, or you can go for Nimbus Cloak. Both are good playstyles because basically into Aatrox, it's all about how fast you move, how much you can dodge his stuff, how much you can outmaneuver him, how much you can catch him in the middle of his E, etc, etc, etc. And to do all these skillful things, you need your move speed. So, you can go either playstyles, Resolve if you're a bit of a less confident player and want to be safer in lane, and Sorcery if you want to just, basically run him over, right? So the thing about Aatrox is this. If he lands everything, his W and his Qs, he's going to destroy you, right? So if he has his ult up and he lands everything, you're basically not going to kill him, right? Because he's going to sustain up so much that you're basically going to have to take down his health bar twice. And in a pre-6 trade, if he lands everything, then you're going to get destroyed in the trade, So try not to get hit by everything. That's number one. Get your dodging skills ready, buy boots early on. Very, very important to, basically outmaneuver his Qs and force him to waste any if he wants to land a Q onto you. So that's very important. Try not to get hit by W, but if you do, try to walk out of it, because the worst thing that can happen is Aatrox hits one Q, he hits W, and because of the slow and how the W works, he hits both of his other Qs. So that's basically our nightmare scenario. You don't want to basically get caught in that. The basic all-in so you do against Aatrox is quite simple, actually. You basically just, if you pull him while you're both at pretty high HP, you should be able to run him down. Of course, you do have to hit your Qs and dodge everything. Those are their given, right? Hit all your Qs, dodge everything. But if you're both high HP, you do destroy him in all-ins. it's very important to get armor early on into the Aatrox lane, because the way it works is like this, right? The more damage he deals, the more he heals. And if you build armor early on, he's going to deal less damage, he's going to heal less, so you basically murder him, right? So the 2 items I can recommend getting into him are Steel Plate, or not Steel Plate, Steel Caps, Ninja Tabis, and Executioners. Or at the very least, 1 Bramble Vest if you can't buy, Tabis into the enemy team composition or something. Just try to make sure you have anti-heal and armor if you're not winning lane already, right? If you have gotten kills against him, then it's kind of sad for the Aatrox, because an Aatrox that's behind is basically a free kill for you no matter what. Just run him down and murder him, and once he has Strikebreaker, there's basically nothing you can do, because even if he does, E backwards, if you hit him without a Strikebreaker slow, you're basically just going to catch up to him and pull him and kill him, basically. So yeah, that's basically how you fight an Aatrox lane. Akali. Akali is a major threat for Darius, because she's one of the champions in the game where she has so many mobility spells that the Akali player has to be bad for you to be able to kill her, right? But the basic idea is this. You want to get kills into the Akali lane before 6. Because before 6, once she basically gets out of her shroud, she's basically free food, right? Like, she has high mobility, but that's only after she has level 6, right? Before it's level 6, as long as you hit your Qs, you land everything, and you pick fights on your side of the lane, which is the case for a lot of these matchups actually, you should be able to run her down with Ghost, right? The bad part about an Akali matchup is no matter how many kills you get against her, she will kind of always find a way to do damage, because she's just like a disgusting champion. Her level 6 is such a massive power spike, so try to respect her level 6 all-in, right? If you find yourself fighting in a shroud a lot, then you're going to lose too much HP, and chances are you won't really hit that many of your, Qs and etc. So try not to fight in her shroud. She chunks you down so hard in your shroud, and, try not to fight in her shroud. The best case scenario is basically you canceling her E with your E, but honestly, I wouldn't really bother with this lane too much when the lane is not on your side of the map. Like, if the lane, the minions, are on your side of the lane, look for an all-in, right? Thin the wave, look for an all-in. Try to set up like a freeze or something like that. But if it's on her side of the lane, the best you can do is look for nice trades and to shove it into her turret so that you can thin it as it reaches your side and then look up for a perma freeze, right? That's very nice against Akali. Versus Akali tried to basically participate in early river fights because she does have very, very low priority. Pre-6, right? You basically do so much more than her. So as long as you're more aware of your map, you should be able to outdo her and do better than her as a top laner. But overall, the best that can happen is you not dying. I mean, the best thing that can happen is obviously, you basically killing her 50 times. But if she's a skillful Akali player, she's going to stay out of your range properly. So try not to basically mess with her too much. Just focus on your CS. And you're better for your team than she's better for her team, right? So try to focus on that, basically, right? Play for your team. Camille. Now, Camille matchup basically depends on your elo. If you're low elo, Camille is basically free, because, the idea with Camille is this. If she does something stupid, like waste her E, or she stays and all-ins you, right? She actually all-ins you. She uses all her abilities, something like that. Then it's basically a free kill, right? There's nothing a Camille can do to stop you from murdering her with Ghost if she goes in on you, and a lot of Camille players in low elo think they're gods and actually do this a lot, right? And even if they are somewhat intelligent, once you learn how to cancel Camille's hookshot in the middle of her E, then you kind of, that's the other half of the loyal Camille players being free matchups, right? And the trick is basically, the second she shoots her hookshot, press E, right? And to make sure that you don't get screwed over in the middle of your Q, try to just auto attack until she uses her hook shot, right? Try to make sure that because when you're using your Q, she can't hook shot away in the middle of it. So try to make sure that her E is down when you go for your Q. So save your E for her E, and then try to then do your combos with your Q and etc. Look for an all-in and just murder her, right? Now, that's in lower elo, but in higher elo, when she gets more help and etc., it's kind of more of an even lane, because the best that's going to happen is she's just going to basically play really passively, try to poke you with W, and play for her for a jungler, basically. That's what they all do in top lane. They also play near the walls, so you can't even catch them in the middle of the air because the hook shot so quickly. So yeah, higher low Camille players, it's basically like an evil skill matchup. Whoever's a better player gets the kill, and for the most part, like, you know, in higher low, it's pretty difficult because they also abuse things like grasp and etc., which is kind of annoying. But yeah, this matchup is kind of complicated. More info in my guide, of course. If you're struggling versus her, just get a Tabi or a Bramble Vest. It actually works quite well against her. Late game, the anti-heal of Bramble isn't that useful earlier on, but, you know, Bramble is basically a discount Tabi if you're having issues in some of these bruisers, and you can't buy Tabis, and you gotta buy Mercs for her team. So yeah, overall, I'll put her in minor, because for most of you guys, she's minor, but if you're D2 and higher, she's basically even. ChoGath. ChoGath is another minor threat. He's probably like... It's minor if you get hit by his skill shots, basically, right? ChoGath is a free lane, but if he hits his Rupture on you, then he basically gets to walk away for free, because that knockup plus the slow basically means that you can never chase him down, even if you have Ghost activated, right? So try your best to not get hit by his Ruptures, his knockups, right? If you can avoid his knockups, this guy is basically a free lane, right? There's nothing he can do to stop you from killing him, so freeze him, murder him, it's just another tank, do whatever you want. But if he can hit those things, then, like, try to get boots, try to get some move speed, Merc boots maybe, but, you know, trying to get, like, hit by too many of his skill shots, because he does have better sustain in lane than you do, and over time, he can kind of wear you out. So try not to get hit by him too much, but also don't let him touch the minion wave. Use your move speed to your advantage with Ghost, dodge his stuff, and bash his face in. She's not a top laner. Mundo. Mundo is basically a free lane. There's nothing this guy can do into Darius, basically. All you need to know to beat Mundo is to make sure you hide behind your minions so that he can't just throw axes on you for free, right? Just hide behind your minions, make sure you angle properly so that if he throws a hatchet, he can't just bug the hitbox and hit you. So, like, try to hide securely behind your minions. And honestly, that's pretty much it. If he steps up, just murder him like the rest. He's basically, like, useless against Darius. Fiora. Fiora is a big skill matchup. Sorry. And if the Fiora player is very, very good, she does kind of get into major, but if you're also very, very good, I'm just bullshitting. Sorry. It's just a skill matchup, basically, right? So, the Fiora lane is very complicated, so I'm going to read my own guide, but the basic idea is this, right? Level 1 and 2, you don't want to mess with her too much, right? Especially if she has Ignite. Because in these levels, though you can get good trades off, if she hits 2-3 vitals and chunks you down to half HP, you're basically done for the lane, right? And that's a very bad idea because level 3 on is your strong point in lane. From level 3, you're able to basically kill her in lane, right? So you really don't want to be losing too many trades level 1 and 2, especially if she has Ignite. Sorry. Okay. It's very, very important to understand how her vitals spawn and how you should position to make sure she doesn't hit the vitals. So I suggest you go to YouTube and look up, like, guide videos on how Fiora's vitals spawn, right? Just watch a few of them and understand how they spawn so that you can predict her next vital and stop her from getting it, right? This game of stopping her from getting to your vitals is, like, crucial versus Fiora, right? If she can hit her vitals, she wins the lane. If she cannot hit her vitals, you win the lane. So make sure that she can't get to her vitals, and if she does, she can't do it easily, right? One big thing is to make sure that you don't have your E cancelled by her riposte, right? Her riposte is very, very broken, and it's honestly kind of disgusting of an ability, very overloaded, but the worst thing you can do is E her, and she blocks it with her riposte. So either E early on, when she doesn't expect it, or save your E for after she uses riposte, right? Same with your ultimate, basically, right? You have to make sure that you either ult super early on, so that she can block it, like your ult damage with her E, or you gotta save your ult for after she uses riposte. One big thing to note is that if you do manage to land your E on her, she's going to be stunned for the whole duration of the pull, during which you can actually ult her. So if you have high enough attack speed, you can do auto ult, but for most early fights, you're mostly just going to go for like, if you have 5 stacks on her, or 4 stacks, and you pulled her, you can actually just ult her in the middle of her pull, so you can guarantee the damage instead of having her block it with her riposte or something like that, right? If she ults you, try to stay like against a wall so that she cannot bug her vitals, of course. You can just run her down like usual, like if she messes up or something. Try to understand that like if Tiamat and like item actives also prog her vitals. If you're losing lane, buy Ninja Tabi and Bramble Vest. Those are very, very useful into the Fiora matchup. Gangplank. Honestly, Gangplank matchup is very, very annoying. If you're in lower elos, he might be an even matchup, depending on the skill of the Gangplank. But in high elo, where basically everybody and their grandmother knows how to play Gangplank, like the grasp Gangplank, basically, it's kind of hard to actually kill this guy in lane because he's so oppressive, right? Level 1 and 2, you want to stay back and avoid his grasp Qs. And you also want to stay out of the range. Like, when he puts down a barrel, you want to stay out of the range of one more barrel. Because then he can just put the barrel up and hit this, like the trick where they Q this one and put a barrel up so it explodes instantly, basically. So you can't dodge it, right? Try your best to kill the barrels that are in your range. You can always use Auto W to kill the barrels quickly if he doesn't expect it. But if you do it a few more times, he's going to get used to it, right? Stridebreaker does help you kill this guy, so if you can survive until Stridebreaker, you should be able to murder him. And also, if you have kept most of your HP till level 3, you should be able to beat him unless he has Ignite, then you actually need all of your health to kill him in an all-in. Aside from that, there's really not that much to this matchup other than, like, it's just going to be super annoying to kill him, right? Still caps are very, very useful against him, but Grasp plus his 2 damage from his autos are going to be annoying, and not to mention how his barrels also avoid armor. So, like, try to go for Tabis. Like, boots early are important, right? Try to go for Tabis. Try to go for the HP portion of your Stridebreaker, kill him first, and then just build towards your Stridebreaker. Don't be too stupid in lane against him, but if he does overextend and, you know, mess with you too much, you are going to kill him, right? Make sure in all-ins to not get hit by his barrels. Try to kill his barrels before he can kill them, or at the very least maneuver around it so that he doesn't hit you with them quite as easily. So, because if he hits his barrels, he gets his passive, the fire auto attack, he gets move speed, and, you know, you're also slowed if you get hit by the barrels. So, yeah, not that good of a time. Garen is a very minor matchup. I don't think I have to explain too much with this matchup. The only thing a Garen can do, like, he's only minor because of, like, the current meta, where he can kind of cheese kills with Ignite and Ultimate. So if you want to have him to one lane until then, and you keep getting destroyed in trades, you are going to lose. But to be honest, this guy should not be able to do anything to you at all. When he does his Q, try to, like, start your W or start your E so that he can't really get away that easily. You know, preferably your W, because you want to save your E for when he activates his W so that he can't get away as easily, because W is a slow and his W tenacity does kind of mess with that and makes it so that the W basically does nothing. So yeah, try to save your E for his W and try to save your W for his Q. And honestly, don't miss your Q too often, and don't let him get away with free trades. That should be it. He is not really that frightening of a matchup. And at the end of the day, the worst that can happen is, like, he kills you in lane, so you just play back, and you basically wait for him to mess up. Because a lot of Garens build damage now, which makes them one-shottable by us. Like, if they were to build, like, the old Garen, it will be a bit more difficult to kill a Garen once you messed up and lose lane. Because they build damage, if they do some stupid dive or something, you can still kill them. But still, you should not be losing lane into Garen. It's just hard, because sometimes in team fights and stuff, he's very good at shutting you down, because you are a melee champion and you are in his range. Gnar. In my opinion, Gnar is an even matchup, because unlike some of the other ranged top laners, he doesn't have that much mobility, but he's not that easier to catch. You know, his range is not that high, but he does have range, you know? It's like, he has the things that are annoying, but he's not that good at them to make the lane impossible, right? So basically against Gnar, it's whoever like manipulates the lane better. I have a full basic like, matchup written on my guide, but you basically have to understand that like the concept of playing against range matchups, which is like Gangplank and stuff. Don't take bad trades, right? Try to understand his range and stay out of it. Try to CS with Q. Don't waste your E, because if you waste your E, you're gonna lose into most of these matchups because you don't have any mana anymore. So yeah, try not to stay in his area of influence so he pokes you down, because if you're low HP, he can kill you. The one bad thing about Gnar is that if you're both low HP and he gets into his mega form, he has so much CC that he can basically kill you during the stun. So yeah, you don't want to be near him when you're both low HP, unless he's in his mini form, which means that you can just one-shot him, right? So the basic idea is to try to get an all-in when he's in his mini form, right? Because when he is in the mini form and you have Ghost, like, the best he can do is jump on a minion and then jump back. After that, he's basically dead. So what you should be trying to do is Ghost towards him, W, and the trick you can do against most Gnar players is walk behind him, right? And what the Gnar player is going to think, that he can jump on you and then jump back, because that's what they do, right? If he jumps on a unit, they can jump twice the distance. But you're going to expect this. So what you're going to do is when he jumps on you, you E where he's going to land. Like, this is him, this is you, and this is where he's going to land. He jumps on you, you E here, and then he's going to be pulled in the air. So you're going to pull him out of the air and murder him, right? That's basically how you kill Gnars. And because they do build a lot of damage, they are quite squishy in their mini form. So he should be quite free. In his mega form, you won't really be able to catch him too much because he has his ultimate, and most of the time Gnars will just use their ults to disengage with you. They won't fight you, basically, right? Because he knows that he's going to get destroyed. But if you do catch him in the middle of the lane in his mega form, then the best advice is to try to avoid his stun, like the lined one, right? If you avoid that one, then you can basically position yourself in a way where, like, you're gonna probably kill him, because the Mega Gnar, though it is quite powerful in terms of stun stats, he's not that mobile, right? So if you have better positioning and if you avoid his stun, is not his ultimate, his stun, then you're gonna have enough move speed with your Ghost to kill him, right? And of course, his all-in power is actually not that strong, so he's basically even lane. But great Gnar players will be able to basically kite you effectively and stay out of your range effectively, which basically makes this such an even lane. It's just a boring lane, basically. Kind of like a Vladimir lane. Gragas, okay. Gragas is actually a matchup that I hate right now. He's actually, like, it depends on your elo, right? Because if you're in lower elos, it really depends on the skill of the Gragas player, right? Gragas basically, like, you can kind of catch a low elo Gragas player and just keep killing him on cooldown, but in high elo, where they take phase rush, they know how to kite properly, like, they're gonna slow you down. They're not gonna fight you. They're just gonna, slam their fat bellies against you and run away. It's very hard to actually play against the Gragas player. And though it is like a decent even farm lane, Gragas is very, very good at shutting the lane down and making it so that you can't do much. And the bad part is that is his win condition, because Gragas is so powerful in team fights thanks to his abilities, and he can basically, like, he has displacement too, so he has the tools to neutralize you if he has a brain, and he has all the tools to neutralize the laning phase. And honestly, he has so many good matchups into so many top laners. Like, he's so sleeper. He's not overpowered per se, but he's sleeper, he's a sleeper S tier in my opinion. Very, very strong. I mean, if you play more champions, I guess he's okay, since you won't get countered by him, but I do hate a high elo Gragas player. But for most of you guys, this is going to be like an even matchup, basically, Hecarim, this is just a free lane. Honestly, there's nothing Hecarim can do, to be honest. He just dies. The only chance he has is basically killing you level 1 with Ignite. That's it. But if you survive level 1, I mean, you can also kill him level 1 yourself, so long as you don't take every single one of his Qs and stuff. But level 2, level 3, he is just free food. You shouldn't even be dying to this guy. Heimerdinger. is a major matchup. Very hard to fight against Heimer because the basic idea is that though if you catch him, he is dead. Catching him is a problem because you not only have to tank his turret damage, but you also have to go through his stun, his W, and the bad part is you're basically not going to be able to step up ever in this lane unless he makes a huge positional error. Because, like, if you get hit by his rockets and you get hit by those lasers from his turrets, like, it's just a bad time, man. Because those things hurt a lot. The number one recommendation I can give is building Negatron Cloak or Mercury Treads, depending on what you're kind of going for. Merc Treads helps you all in more, but the Cloak, the 50 MR or whatever, that helps you basically sustain more damage. So if you are in a position where you're just taking poke and poke and poke, go for the Cloak. But if you do want to look into all-inning him, maybe you're a Strikebreaker or something, whatever, then go for Merc Treads. So there's not much to say into this lane. He is way more killable this season because of how squishy he is. You know, virtually every single champion in the game can one-shot him, but laning against him is a nightmare. Illaoi. Now, Illaoi is basically even, but if both players are skilled, it basically becomes major. But the basic idea is this. Until level 6, you beat her no matter what, right? If you just catch her pre-level 6, you just murdered her no matter what, right? The only case is if she takes you to a part of the lane where she already has like 2-3 tentacles set up, then it's kind of difficult to kill her. And it's that plus she lands her E, right? If she has these conditions, which are rare but completely possible, then she does win. But aside from that, she just loses pre-6. But post-6, the lane becomes kind of annoying. What basically happens is that no matter how ahead you are, if she lands E, she will win the fight. On the other hand, like, if you are, like, you know, if she misses E, then you will kill her no matter what. It's a very, very annoying lane, right? Now, there are some caveats, you know, if you kill her, one-shot her before she can do anything, then it doesn't matter how many ghosts she has on you, but those are just fringe cases. Against the proper Illaoi player, as long as you can kind of dodge her E, then you should be able to murder her. Honestly, if you're under turret and she dodges and she misses E, doesn't matter. Ghost and just run her down. Just straight up, she's a free kill. So yeah, that's basically how you deal with Illaoi. There's not really much to deal with. She's just an annoying lane. But on the bright side, you are way, way better than her in team fights, basically. So as long as you walk out of lane decently strong, you should be able to do way more in team fights than her. Irelia is a minor matchup. She is quite annoying, but Darius is historically one of the champions who does do very well into her. You kind of, like, okay, like, there are multiple rules when all-inning in Irelia. One, watch out for her passive stacks. You know, if she has her passive stacks up, don't fight her. If she has the means to stack her passive fast, meaning that you have a lot of low HP minions, friendly minions, like ranged minions or whatever, then don't fight her. And the biggest rule is never get hit by her stun. If you avoid her stun, you win the all-in, right? It doesn't matter what is happening. If you avoid it, you win the all-in. If she lands it, run, because she gets such a good trade, and if it's an all-in, she just kills you, because her ult basically stops you from running. So your number one priority is dodging her stun. Flash, whatever. If you can't dodge it, just flash it, right? It's like, the good IR players will do it while you're in the middle of an auto attack or something, so you can kind of baiting it by doing auto attack, cancel, and walk and run away. But, you know, if you are struggling with dodging it, even with your ghost move speed, then, you know, just use your flash. If you can, like, dodge her, you know, E, then she's basically like an... If you can't dodge her E, she's basically an even matchup. The lane's just even, because if you can't dodge it, then you're not going to walk up. And if she doesn't have control of the lane, she's not going to walk up. So it's just going to be legal slow push with you slow pushing to her, she slow pushing into you, where the first one to win is the one who basically sets up a trade. It sets up a freeze. But if you can dodge her stun, she's basically just free, right? Kind of like Illaoi, but with Irelia, if you kill her 2-3 times, you just murder her, you know, unless she has Bork. But yeah, it is kind of like she's kind of even if she's good, but for most of you guys, if you just dodge the stun, it basically makes no difference. She just dies. So yeah, our next champion is Jax. Jax is actually a major matchup, especially with Ignite. The basic idea into Jax is like also in Aurelia if you're losing Aurelia and Ilaoi, but if you're losing versus them, Bramble is very good into them. Tabis is also very good. Build them both if you have to, especially if she goes Bork. Even if she doesn't, it's good. Jax is one of the few bruisers in the game who just beats Darius up like really, really hard. Jax can very easily beat Darius if, like, you know, Darius messes up, vice versa. The basic, like, this is high elo Jax's, by the way. Your average Jax is going to be even, because this guy's not going to know what the hell he's doing, but, like, so I'm going to put him here, basically, right? This is the matchup tier list for all of you guys. So, the basic idea is this. You never want to open with Q, because he's going to jump on you with his Q, and you never want to waste your, like, W on his Counter-Strike, right? And the way you start the all-in is you walk up to him, you do your auto-attack, and he does his Counter-Strike, right? You have to get his Counter-Strike out. Then you pop Ghost, and then you run to a neutral direction, right? Not in his turret, but not towards your turret, right? What this does is this. You're basically giving him two choices. Jump on a minion and try to get away, like save your Q and get away, or jump on me and lose your life, right? And stun me, basically, right? You're giving him two choices, right? He wants to fight or he wants to run. If he runs, then you basically have all of your abilities to try to punish him and murder him. But if he fights you, then you can use your E, use your Q, use W, etc., etc., etc. The name of the game against Jax is kiting. You have to get rid of his Q, you have to get rid of his E, and then you have to kite. Because if you just fight him head on, he's going to kill you because his damage is so high, and he's kind of tanky, to be honest. So, yeah. Try not to basically be all up in his face, especially when his passive is stacked up, because then he has so much attack speed, and especially post 6, he gets his passive out so fast, you're not going to be able to kill him too effectively, right? If Jax is build Bork, it is hard to 1v1 him, but he's basically useless in teamfights. If he builds Triforce, you can beat him in a 1v1, but consequently, he's going to be a bit chunkier in teamfights, but that shouldn't matter, because then you should be able to kill him, whatever, right? It's basically a skill matchup, honestly. Build your Tabis into him earlier on. And if you're struggling into this matchup, Bone Plating is very, very useful into Jax. Resolve is very useful. Sorcery is good into all these matchups if you're like mechanically good, but go Resolve with Bone Plating into Jax. It really helps against Jax. It really, really helps. Jace. Jace is such an annoying matchup to deal with, to be honest. He's basically like, he's got all the tools in his kit to ruin you, basically, right? And it takes a very, like, the reason I put him major instead of extreme is because it takes a very skilled Jace to effectively play against you, right? A lot of these Jaces will be basically here because they won't space properly against you, but a very good Jace is extreme, so I basically put them in the middle here, which is like the average, right? So the basic idea versus Jace is to tank up ASAP, right? Get your Tabis, get your Kindle Gem ASAP. You gotta be beefier than this dude. You gotta have early armor because they also build like lethality early on, and you need armor so that he doesn't punch through your armor and one-shot you, right? And the matchup becomes easier if they take Conqueror, but if they take Phase, if they take Phase Rush, it's also fine because here's the basic idea, right? You want to watch out for his like hammer thing, right? If he jumps to you with his hammer stance and he knocks you away, keep an eye out for how this specific player does this, and time your W or your E, if he has Phase Rush, with this hammer knockback, right? So that if he knocks you back, you still use one of these abilities so that you have him stunned while you're knocked back. What then happens is that you can just press Ghost, run up to him, and murder him. That's how all-ins go, basically, against Jace. But, like, you really, really need to tank up before you can reliably kill him, right? Earlier on, level 1, 2, he is quite, like, difficult to deal with. He becomes manageable post level 3 because you do have your W and your E to help you, you know, slow him down and etc. He's hard to set up freezes against because he can clear away from so far away, and he can see us from so far away, and he can also poke you while doing that. And honestly, it's like, when you just get to lane, Unless he's stupid, it's going to be a bit difficult, but after your first back, it should be easier, right? Second Wind is a great choice. Not Bramblelist. Bone Plating is great if you want to go for a lot of all-ins, because he does do a lot of multi-hit combos. Resolve is great if you think you're good enough to basically force him into all-in, and you can dodge his things, you know, whatever his stuff, make plays with your Q, etc., etc. It's basically a big skill matchup, but if he is skilled, there's not going to be much you can do. You're basically just going to be stuck there, even in lane with him. He's going to CS and poke you, you're just going to CS. Kayle. Kayle is a major matchup, not an extreme. And this is basically because, like what happens is, like, though for a lot of you guys she's also gonna be quite easy level 6, it's just that once Kayle gets her range after level 6, you basically can't catch her without your Stridebreaker, right? Stridebreaker does make this lane possible, but if the Kayle has any intelligence, they're just gonna hang back and not let you proc it so easily. So if you can kill her pre-6, it does become possible to play this game, but if you can't kill her, and if you lose lane, because she has her really easy to land slow, she does have a lot of sustain, a lot of move speed, a lot of range, all these things, then it's going to be a nightmare, because not only is she a late game powerhouse, she also has her ultimate, which basically like cancels your influence, right? She can ult one of her teammates, you can't kill them anymore, so it kind of does become hard to basically play into a very competent Kayle. So she does kind of counter you in some ways. But the advantage is, because she's so weak earlier on, if you work well with your jungler and your mid lane, the guys you have prio, etc., then you should be able to make plays, and she can't really contribute as much as you can. So try to abuse your early lead as much as possible against Kayle. Well, early priority. Kennen. Kennen is no longer a difficult matchup because he just doesn't really do that much of anything, to be honest. He doesn't do that much damage anymore. He doesn't really, you know, he's hard to catch, but on the other hand, he's also like he's very killable because he doesn't have dashes or anything. It's just like he just runs away with high move speed basically. So if you can kind of pull him during that, he's just dead to you basically. And if you buy Merc Treads into him, you can basically just murder this guy on cooldown with Stridebreaker, even without Stridebreaker, with just Ghost. The only annoying part is if he's confident, it becomes an even lane where you're both CSing, but aside from that, it's just like, you know, like, they do make mistakes somewhat often, and once you just catch a Kennen, you just kill him so often. It's so sad how little this guy can do. Like, he's basically the worst ranged top laner in the game, and the best he can do is just make the lane even, right? Like, the only reason you're going to die to him is because you just stay in his range for too long. The normal range top laner things still apply. Don't stay in his range for too long, don't get hit too long, etc, etc, etc. So, yeah, just don't be stupid against Kennen, and you should be good to go. Kled. Kled is a very even skill matchup up until you get Ninja Tabi. So if the Kled is bad, it's a minor matchup, he can't do anything, but if he's good, meaning that he can land his Qs, he knows to use his abilities to dodge your Q, etc, 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 then it's an even matchup. Because basically, like, he's going to get a lot of good trades, and though you do win all-ins, he is very strong in all-ins, so if you mess up and if you don't hit your Q or something, he can kill you if he has Ignite, right? If he doesn't have Ignite, this lane is just free, but if he has Ignite, he can't kill you until you get Ninja Tabi. Once you get Ninja Tabi, you kill him no matter what, right? Ninja Tabi completely counters Kled, so, like, don't get hit by his Qs, try not to let him get away for free. If he has his W activated, kite him, make sure he doesn't get all of the autos off because that's a lot of damage, and try to make sure that you can actually one-shot him in his small state, because if he does hop on Skarl again from his dismounted state, you are pretty much dead, but you can basically ignore all of that. Just play safe until you can get Tabis, and you can beat him that way. So, yeah. Not a top laner. Lucian. Lucian is a major counter pick because, like, he's very, very oppressive in lane. Very, very oppressive, right? Once you do catch him, you can kill him in an all-in, but to do that, you have to basically follow the range top laner rules, play back, don't take too much damage, play safe, stay in XP range, and don't go for the CS where you can take damage from him. He has his skill shot where that goes through minions, And the range of that is so high. So what you basically want to do is make sure that there are no minions between you two, right? Like, I know it sounds arbitrary, but you'll see in game once you get up against this guy, if he starts poking you with that, you just have to make sure that like he can't get a nice like minion to hit you through. And that skill shot thing is so fast that once you can't really dodge it, you know, it just hits you. So you gotta be preemptive and position in a way where he can't hit you with it, right? The good part is once you get Tabi, you do kind of beat him with Ghost, as long as you don't get like let him basically kite you and hit you with all of his ultimate, you know, projectiles. Level 6, you can run him down quite easily. He's pretty free with Strybreaker. Basically, you just Strybreak, slow him, run him down with Ghost. He's pretty free into all-ins, but there's just so much. You have to play so safe and so carefully. And the worst part is if you actually lose to Lucian, it's basically just Nightmare Town, because a fed Lucian is going to be like such a pain to deal with. Malphite. Ugh. This champion has become quite disgusting lately, so I'm going to put him in even matchups. But why did I open Spotify? Okay. But basically speaking, let me just open this shit up. Alright. Whatever, it's just a Darius one. But basically speaking, you mostly don't want to like mess with him too much. Why did it put Ahri? Okay. You don't want to mess with him too much in that you don't want to take free poke from him, right? You want to play very, very, very aggressive pre-6. You want to get kills against this guy pre-6. Because what happens is post-6, he's just going to poke you down with his E until he can kill you with his ultimate. But before then, you have to understand the range of your E and the range of his, like, his skill, not his, like, his E, basically. Like, the thing that he throws at you, right? Once you understand the range of that, and you have good move speed, you can kind of catch him, right? You need good move speed to do this, right? So get your boots early, ASAP. If you want, you can get boots of swiftness. That really helps, but that kind of does sabotage your boot building capabilities against the rest of his team. But, you know, like, if he throws his E at you, with proper spacing and with proper move speed, you'll catch him every time with your E, right? And you can also, like, you know, if he throws that out, Ghost, Nimbus Cloak, run towards him, and you'll pull him. Right? That extra move speed, until that projectile hits you, you'll be able to cover enough distance to get him in the range of your E, right? So those are like the kind of arbitrary things you can do to beat him. He's very killable pre-6. It's just annoying if you let him get away with lots of free trades, because they do take corrupt pot and etc. But because of this, they are quite easy to kill because they don't have much, you know, early game fighting power, right? It's just annoying once he gets armor, but it's basically the same idea. Pull him in his E and try to run him down. The thing with this lane post 6 is that's his goalpost, basically. He basically won, because no matter how fed or feeding a Malphite is, he's going to be useful with his 6. And where your job is at that point is to either peel your team from him, use him as 5 stacks, and to outdo him in team fights, right? And that is basically a more complex topic, but this is basically just the lane. It's just annoying because a well-played Malphite basically makes it so that it's just a farm lane, right? He's actually minor, not even. A well-played Malphite is basically just a farm lane, which is annoying, but, you know, these matchups can actually kill you and mess you up. This guy just throws, you know, pizzas at, I don't know what, like, rings at you, I guess, and he just, like, you know, you know, he's basically just annoying, basically. So as long as you're patient, as long as you have move speed and proper spacing, you can kill this guy. Maokai is free. I'm not sure, like, you know, he's just free, man. Like, Maokai is just free. He's basically just a typical tank matchup. And, like, just don't get, like, just run him down. Just kill him. There's not much to think about. Mordekaiser. The basic idea with Mordekaiser is this. Inside his ultimate, he wins. Outside his ultimate, you win, right? So if you follow this idea, pre-6, you will kill him no matter what. As long as you don't let him hit too many isolated Qs, so basically player into minions, you just murder him. So go ahead and murder him. Inside his Q, however, there are two kind of playstyles. One, you've killed him already, and you can kill him before he can kill you, right? You can one-shot him. In this case, try your best to burst him down ASAP. If he hasn't used his W yet, you can E him and ult kill him before he uses W. It's the trick you can do against a lot of these matchups with shields and etc. If you haven't killed him yet, just kite him. Run away from him. You're not going to kill him in his ultimate if you are even, right? And honestly, if you don't kill him outside his ultimate, you're never going to like scale to the point where you'll beat him in his ultimate, because he does outscale you at some point inside of his ultimate. But you don't need to beat him, remember. Like, with all these matchups, you have to basically use your brain and understand that you're not fighting these guys. You're fighting these guys plus 4 other people. So sometimes it's more important to kill those people than to kill one of these guys 50 times over, right? So the basic idea against Mordekaiser is this. Do whatever you can, get your lead in lane, and once you are powerful enough to do stuff in teamfights, get QSS. 5-stack onto him if he ults you, QSS out, and just massacre his team, right? You do way more than him in teamfights, right? All he does is ult someone, so just try to, just outmaneuver him in teamfights, like stack on his team and just kill his team if you're fed, right? Even if he ults you, just QSS out, or 5-stack on him and then QSS out and kill everyone in his team, The Mordekaiser matchup is like, and a lot of the Mordekaisers aren't even that good, to be honest, so you shouldn't have too many difficulties unless you are careless with how much poke and damage you take. I'm going to speed up with the rest of these. Nasus. Nasus is pretty much a minor matchup because he's very poor early on, and the only way he can survive in lane is going Emax Nasus, which like a lot of Nasuses don't even do. And Emax Nasus basically suffers in that with going Emax, his level 6 all-in is worse, which is the only point in time where he can kill you. A level 6 Nasus will kill you if you're also level 6, because his Q cooldown is lower, and he's going to basically lock you down with Wither and Q and out damage you. But the basic idea against Nasus is this. You gotta go phase rush, you gotta poke him down, and walk away out of his Wither, right? Phase rush helps a lot in the Nasus matchup, and it basically makes it so free, because if he gets level 6, you poke him down, and if he uses his ultimate, you just walk away, right? There's not much he can do. So Nasus is one of the only matchups in the game I would recommend phase rush against. And you have so much priority pre-6 that you should either get a kill or force him to have like 10 stacks or something like that. Like maybe 30 stacks, I don't know. Some horribly low number. And you should be able to do way more with your jungler. And another part is later on into the game, because Nasus is so one-dimensional, outside of split push, he's not that useful. So you can kind of collapse on him with your team, because he does outscale you in the 1v1, but the 1v1 doesn't matter later on into the game. Olaf. Now, Olaf is a very hit or miss champion in that if he lands his axis, he kills you. If he doesn't land his axis, you basically murder him. But like Olaf kind of beats you level 1, 2, and once he gets his ultimate, he also beats you once he gets his ultimate, right? Your only chance of beating Olaf is using your ghost movement speed to dodge as many axes as possible and to kite him out like a dog, basically. Just kite. Don't mess with him too much. And the reason I put him in major is because he's not that difficult to play, right? It doesn't take a genius to play Olaf, to be honest. He just has to land a skill shot and press right click, basically. So yeah, just know how to kite him. And if you do get hit by his axes often, then try to play back, because those things hurt. And it's like, you get hit by one, you're gonna get hit by all of them, because of like, it slows you, he walks over, picks it up, another one, and you're just doomed, right? You can basically die from the first axe. So level 1, if you step up too hard, you're basically losing a flash or a ghost or something. Ornn is an even matchup because he basically forces the lane into a standstill, right? He's very, very strong in early trades. His all-ins are not too great into Darius because he is naturally a tank, but his trading is very, 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 very powerful, which basically makes it so that, like, if you take early trades into him over and over again, you will get beaten up and you will lose lane. But as long as you pick your fights correctly, you can basically murder him. You can use your E to cancel his dash and his ultimate, and you can kind of use your ghost to walk. Like, if this is Ornn and he's fire blasting you, you can use your ghost to walk out of his range or walk down, because he does walk forward, right? Walk down like that, walk down like that, some kind of way. Because if he does get that Brill proc on you, that's a lot of damage from him, right? And in all-ins, you should be able to neutralize him. It's just that he's such a good laner with his shop ability, his short trades, that with the good Ornn player, it's just going to be an even lane. And once he gets his items, you need Cleaver to kill him. And yeah, that's just pretty much it, man. Without Cleaver, it takes way too long to kill him. So yeah, he's even, you know. Pantheon is honestly even. His level 1 and 2 are quite annoying, but post level 3, as long as you haven't lost too much health against him, it should be quite, not free, but it should be quite an okay lane to fight. You basically beat him in all lanes if you have some armor, so just build armor and kill him. He's basically like Jace, minus the range, and if he messes up, minus the safety, right? So yeah, the only annoying thing is his like shield thing, where he blocks all damage, but with Ghost you should be able to easily outmaneuver him. And one thing you can do is ult, and then flash behind him in the middle of your ultimate so that you deal the ult true damage. Poppy is minor. Now, I put her minor not because she's a lane threat, because if it was just laning, she would be basically here. Another free tank lane. Darius is like one of the hardest counters of Poppy. But the thing about Poppy is her ultimate, which you can basically use to neutralize you in team fights. I'll put her here, just for the sake of you guys, but a smart Poppy can neutralize a Darius. Quinn is actually one of our first extreme matchup, because unlike some of the other range matchups who basically beat you in lane, Quinn beats you in lane, and level 6 she no longer beats you, because with Tabbies, you do kill her level 6, with some struggling you do beat her in all ins, but that's not her goal anymore. She won, because once she hits level 6, she's going to use her R and roam. It's a roam city for Quinn. She's going to be all over the map, influencing a lot of fights, and you're just going to be sitting top lane. So the basic idea in fighting Quinn is to try to survive, try to see if you can kill her pre-6, but if you can't, get Tabby, and if she walks into your lane, murder her, right? Just murder her if she walks into your lane post 6 with Striver, etc. Because she's not that hard to kill. It's just that she has so much impact on the map that she pre-6 you can't really do too much to her. Which basically makes her in a high elo setting, it's one of the few champions that great players should be picking in the Darius to neutralize him and roll over his team. Renekton, even skill matchup. The Renekton matchup is quite multi-leveled. Basically speaking, you have to not fight him if he has high fury, because you can get a very nice trade off. You can't fight him if he has Bork, and you have to be way more careful if he has Ignite, basically, right? But the thing is, you do beat him in all-ins. You just have to make sure that you either cancel his second power with his pull, use your W or E to keep him in place during his W stun on you, or make sure that the lane is on your side of, the wave is on your side of the lane, so that when he is stunning you, he doesn't just, get away for free, basically, right? Because if he stuns you, he can just, dash twice away and get away from your grasp. And at that point, he got what he wanted, which is a good trade, and you didn't get what you wanted, which was an all-in into a kill, basically, right? Now, the build into him is Steel Caps and Bramble Vest, and the one trick I can explain to you is to understand how his E works. So a lot of Renektons will, when you're trying to chase him down, they want to walk behind you and then E twice to escape to their turret. You don't want to let this happen, so you want to walk him to his lane, but also stand either behind him or on top of him, so that he can't just get a clean dash towards his turret, So be mindful of that. Rengar is quite an easy matchup, to be honest. He can't really do too much because Rengar relies on longer fights. So does Darius. The basic idea is this, right? Level 1 and 2 and also 3, you want to play safe against him, especially when he has bush priority. If he's in his bush and he has his stacks, his Ferocity stacks up, he's just gonna one-shot you, man. But this is only pre-level 3. Post-level 3, it's the freest lane. Honestly, if he just touches you, just all in him and gun him down. If he jumps on you, auto WQ, and if he does WW away, which is what good Rengars will do, pull him in and just ghost him down and just one-shot him, right? Be careful of how he can jump to minions. He does have that mobility, so understand that he has some escape routes that you wouldn't think are possible. And try not to let him get away with too many free trades, which is basically, if he jumps onto you, grass proc, double W out, right? So don't let him get away with that too much. If he does that too much and he's too much of a problem, you need to get armor and you need to get anti-heal against him. So either Bramble Tabbies or Tabbies plus Executioners. Good Rengars will go W max into you, which basically means that, like, you know, you should be able to kill them with Ghost, but if by the way, if a Rengar goes Q max into you, he's an idiot and he's just gonna get destroyed. Then it's just a free lane. But the good Rengars are kind of annoying to deal with, so yeah. Riven is an even skill matchup. The better player wins. There's a lot of levels to his matchup because there's a lot of things you can do. But basically, you want to fight her after she wastes one ability, right? Because if you do, like, by the way, in a lot of these matchups where they can dash into you, like Aurelia, Riven, and etc., you have to do EQ. And it's a mechanic that I covered in my combo guide where you do it properly, you guarantee that you hit Q. Okay, so the basic idea with the Riven matchup is to understand her power spikes, right? Level 1, she can trade quite well into you, and if she has Ignite, she will kill you, right? If she doesn't have Ignite, and if she Qs into you, then you can kill her and run her down with W, right? So that's level 1. Level 2, it becomes a bit quirky to trade into her because she gets her E, which basically lets her disengage from you and tank damage at the same time. So, you know, you won't be able to all-in her because you don't have both your slows. But level 3 onwards, you are in a position to kill her. So the lane is on your side of the lane, you have Ghost, and she messes up and uses one of her ability spells, her Q or her E. Then you can just run her down and just make her cat food, basically. She's just nothing at that point, just kill her, right? But consequently, if you mess up your Q, your E or something, and she has all of her abilities, the opposite, she kills you. Another thing to be wary of is her level 6 power spike. Be careful of it. You need to get Tabby ASAP into Riven, because without Tabby, she just murders you level 6. Like, you can't even fight back. Be careful of her power spikes. Don't waste abilities. Do not waste your E. Do not waste your E ever. And try to kind of adapt to the specific Riven player, because the Riven players play different from the Riven to Riven to Riven. So try to analyze her gameplay, find some weaknesses in there, and just knock her down. Rumble is a even matchup for Darius. Once you get like MR, it is pretty free. You do kind of destroy him in all-ins, but the thing about the Rumble matchup is that this is a high elo thing, right? Low elo Rumbles don't exist, and if they do, they're horrible at the game. You can just run them down normally. But against the higher elo Rumble, you basically want to survive in lane until he either messes up and overextends, or until you get MR. Once you get MR, you should be able to destroy him quite easily, right? Not Merc traits, like an actual MR item, you know? Spectre's Cowl. I see, yeah. Spectre's Cowl is quite good into Rumble. So yeah, get that into him. And once you get that, you do kind of win the lane. But the thing that makes this an even lane is he has priority level 1 because of his flamethrower, lots of damage. And level 6 on, he just has, his kit has all the tools he needs to avoid laning phase, right? So if he kites properly, if he places properly, if he has phase rush, then the lane is just a boring farm lane. But if you catch him, you do murder him. Just be sure to not stay in his ultimate for too long, because his ult does a lot of damage. Rise, dude, I don't know. Nobody even plays Rise. He's basically like a free lane, honestly. Let's just put him in even, because he's annoying. He has annoying wave clear, but his all-in potential is so low. And at the end, it's just going to be wave clear simulator, because all the Rise is going to do is wave clear, hit stand back, wave clear, stand back. You can't even freeze into him too effectively because he clears waves so quickly and from safety, right? When he does his root thing against you, he is in E range, so watch out for that. You can use your E to cancel his ultimate, so also keep that in mind. But he just loses all-ins against you, to be honest. If you can pull him in, he just dies on your side of the lane, of course, but this is just a boring lane. Kind of the same as Vladimir, to be honest, right? Against Vladimir, you have to go Executioners early. Like, you don't want to take too many bad trades into him, because the Vlad players do run like ignite now, and what they can do is they can just take bad trades, but they heal up, so they'll actually end up with higher HP than you eventually, and then they go for an all-in or a dive or something and they kill you. Avoid that. Try to go for full all-ins. Try to get executioners ASAP and some MR, and then build towards your Strikebreaker. And yeah, honestly, the Vlad lane is basically just a snooze fest, right? Try not to use your Q when he has his pull up, because he's just going to pull during your, E, and avoid it. And yeah, once you have executions, you can actually one-shot him with your ultimate level 6 onwards. Try to look forward to that, I guess. And pre-6, if he also overextends, you can kill him. Most of them will take phase rush though, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, it's basically an even matchup. Set is a even matchup, slightly easier though. The basic idea is this. He beats you level 1 and 2. Level 3 on, it's a skill matchup, right? So if you can dodge his W, you can kill him. But if he lands the center of his W, you just get destroyed, right? So avoid his W. That's your number one objective, right? Level 6 on, your ultimate is a way better combat ability than his ultimate, because his ultimate just moves you to. Like, it doesn't do that much damage either. So yeah, as long as you kite him properly enough, you should be able to kill him properly. You have to use your ghost to kite him, by the way. He does have way more auto attack DPS than you, so use your ghost to kite out of his auto attack range and only hit him when he hits you. Force him to use his like pull thing in order to get you in range and force him to waste his abilities, basically, right? Kite. And one trick you can do is, if he hasn't used his W yet, but he's in range to be killed with your ult, do ER, kind of like the Mordekaiser, and you should be able to just one-shot him, right? So yeah, just listen to me, right? Level 1, 2, don't fight him. 3, 4, 5, skill matchup. If you dodge his W, you beat him and kite him. If you dodge his W, you kite him, you land your own Qs, you beat him, otherwise he kills you. Post 6, as long as you don't miss everything and mess everything up, you should beat him, you do kind of outscale him. Once he gets Bork, it does get a bit more difficult to beat him because of Bork's, more attack speed, the slows, and etc. So if you kite him there, you can still kill him, but it just gets harder. And you also outscale him later on in 1v1s. Like, you outscale him so hard. Once you get your tank items, he's basically just worthless in a 1v1 against you. His teamfight is kind of annoying, but he should be a free source of stacks for you. Honestly, just murder him in lane. He's not that much of a threat unless you're taking stupid fights. Shaco top. Honestly, we've all seen like 50 pink ward plays in every league highlight channel, so I can't believe there are still people falling for these Shaco plays, but get your sweeper, don't fall for stupid things, play it normally. Your bleed stack reveals him in his invisibility. Your bleed stack shows which Shaco is the right clone. Just don't be stupid, right? I put a minor because there's gonna be the idiot who falls into his trap. But yeah, just don't be stupid with him. Shen, it's a very minor matchup. If he has Ignite, he does beat you level 1 and 2. But level 3 on, it's a free lane. Level 6 on, there is nothing this guy can do. The only difficult part is in higher elos, where you basically have to choose between freezing and pushing. If the enemy jungler is on your side of the map, you better freeze under your own turret or near your own turret. And that's just what you can do, because if you push, he just kills you with his jungler. But if the jungler is not near you, meaning you can't be ganked, you just want to push the lane into his turret and force him to basically either lose CS and teleport, or like if you push to his turret, you will see him, so you can actually cancel his teleport and his ultimate. So keep an eye out for any teleports and etc. that you can cancel. So yeah, honestly, as long as you don't int level 1 and 2, this should be quite free. Singed. Singed is basically a minor matchup. Like, the Singed matchup is so complex, but the basic idea is this. You kind of destroy him in all-ins, regardless of how much you're inting, right? But one thing you don't want to do is let him flip you where he wants you to be, right? So you have to basically get inside his head. Let's say you caught him, and you're auto-attacking him, right? And he's running to his turret. Where does the Singed want to flip you? Does he want to flip you in front of him? Or does he want to go behind you and flip you behind him so he can just get away, right? So no, if you're chasing him to his turret, he wants to flip you towards, like, behind him. He wants to get behind you and flip you so that, you know, he can get to his turret for free. So try to walk behind him, basically, right? Walk behind him and don't let him flip you for free. Or if you do, let him flip you at an angle where you can still chase him, right? He is quite killable with Ghost, though he does have sick amount of moves with his ultimate. So you have to be aware of that. Never let him proxy. Walk with your minions, right? Like, make sure you protect your own minions. Like, level 1, walk with your minions. If your jungle asks for a leash, just... honestly, like, I would just tell him, hey, if this Singed has a blurred brain, I have to protect my minions, right? So try not to leash. Try to tell your jungler, hey, I can't leash. But if you have to, just, like, try to make it a priority to, like, ping to your jungler, hey, there's a chance this guy's gonna proxy, so be careful, let's kill him, right? So, yeah. Honestly, the matchup is so complicated, so you're better off reading my Darius guide for this one. The video has already gone on for 1 hour. Jesus Christ. Okay, I gotta get through some of these fast, so yeah. Read my guide for this one, because this is an annoying matchup. Also, the arrangement of this is a bit different than my guide, because I haven't updated my guide in a while. I have to get to work on that, but yeah, whatever. Okay, Sion is free lane, quite easy, nothing he can do. You should never be losing a Sion lane. This is honestly Darius' easiest lane in the game. He can't trade against us, he can't do anything. So yeah, just bash his face in. Teemo's honestly an annoying matchup, but the thing with him is if you catch him, he is dead. The hard part is that catching him is not that easy. Easier said than done because he has a lot of move speed. His Q makes all this tricky. You have to basically not auto attack during the blind, not waste your W during his blind. You're better off saving your Q so that when he blinds you, you Q during it, right? So if you pull him, try to auto attack as many times as possible. He blinds you, use your Q, right? So that you're not wasting time. You're as efficient as possible. Try not to walk in the same line he's walking so that you don't run into shrooms. That's what team wants to do a lot of times. Try to get your sweeper ASAP. You need that in all-ins. You don't want to run into his shrooms because that lets him get a lot of damage. Slows. He has move speed. You're slowed. He's just going to murder you at that point, especially if he has Ignite. But the thing is, he's not that much of a threat outside of lane. Not that much of a threat to your team. And honestly, he's just annoying in lane, so just survive in lane. Tryndamere is an even skill matchup, kind of in your favor, but the basic idea is this. Don't fight him when he has high fury. That's a given. Try your best to kite him, right? Try your best to kite him. And remember this, right? His ultimate, like you can do more. Like, you can do more without your ultimate than he, right? So, how do I word this, right? Just use your ultimate prematurely, basically, right? You're almost never gonna execute Tryndamere. And even if you do, it's like, honestly, there's not much to explain. Like, it's just a game of kiting this guy, man. You basically have to one-shot him, kite him until he runs out of ultimate, and then get one attack off on him, and he's basically dead, right? The difficult part is the kiting him, because he has his W, he has his E, so how do you kite him? The answer, Phase Rush. This is the other lane that you need Phase Rush into, because with Phase Rush, his slow does nothing into you, and you can kite him for days. So with Phase Rush, RWQ, and like you basically got a sick combo off onto him, and you can kite him wherever you need to go, and just, you know, if you kite Tryndamere, he's basically, like, can't do anything against you. A lot of them will take Ghost, but with Phase Rush and Ghost, you should be able to kite him long enough for you to outlast his ultimate, right? So the basic idea is this. You bait his ultimate out, kite, and try to position yourself in a way where he can't E out, right? Try to make sure he's in range to R flash kill, or try to make sure he's, like, you know, you hit him one more time before he E's away so that he dies to the bleed. And yeah, honestly, if you take, this is a possible matchup with Conqueror, but if you take Conqueror, the Tryndamere has to be kind of bad for you to beat him, right? Against good Tryndameres, I struggle a lot without Phase Rush. So yeah, take Phase Rush, kite him like a dog, and you will kill him eventually. He needs Ghost too, by the way. Urgot is a minor matchup. How do I put him here? Yes. The basic idea is this. If he lands everything, he wins. If he misses either his E flip or his Q, you win, right? Now, why do I say this? Like, if he misses his Q, you're not slowed, so you can just, outmaneuver him with your Ghost. And if he misses his E, you can basically do whatever you want to him, right? And, okay, let me rephrase myself. If he lands E, Q, and R, he kills you, right? All three. And this is post 6. Pre 6, he's just he's just dead, basically. Just make sure you don't do something stupid, like get hit by both his E and his Q, all of his shotgun knees inside his minion wave, then you do kind of die. But be intelligent, don't miss your Qs, try to be, wary of his E thing, and don't get put into bad positions where he can hit you with a lot of his shotgun knees. Use your Ghost to dodge his shotgun knees. Why do I call him shotgun knees? I don't know. It's just like shotgun knees. Dodge his shotgun knees. So, level 6. Dodge his ultimate. Some way. If you dodge his E, then it becomes much easier to dodge his ultimate. And if you do dodge it, if him missing his E or you dodging his E means that he's so out of position that he won't be able to burst you down to execute you, right? So if he misses his E or his R post 6, then you can basically kill him for free. But if you're in a position where you are going to get hit by R, just flash out, right? Just flash out, because honestly, if you get hit by E and R, you're as good as dead, because you're going to be slowed with his R, so he's going to hit his Q as well. He's getting off all of his shotgun knees, and because of all those slows, you're not going to have the move speed to get away in time. And his W is going to make it so that even if you do have him in your E, he's still going to be shooting you down and bursting you down. So yeah, just don't let him. Just don't get hit by everything from this guy, and you should be good to go. And make sure to hit all of your Qs. But aside from that, he is basically just another person to run down. It's very easy to line Qs against him because he has low range, etc., etc. Vayne, very annoying matchup. Probably probably the most difficult matchup in the entire game. She just destroys you at all levels, except for a few, right? If you can make use of your power spikes properly, you can beat her, right? 1. Don't take free trades, right? Don't let her get her auto attacks off. Understand her range and understand her Q range, because what she can do is let you walk into her auto range and get 3 autos off on you, and with press the attack, that's such a devastating trade. You take so much damage that you can no longer all in her. So don't take too much free damage from her. Level 3, if you're both level 3 and if you both have high HP, if you land your E, you will kill her in the all-in with your Ghost, right? Just don't get condemned into the wall. The same is the case for level 6, and the same is also the case once you get Ninja Tabis. These are the 3 points in the game, or in the lane, where you can kill her 1v1, right? And the conditions for all 3 of them is you're both high HP and you have Ghost, right? If you have low HP, if you don't have Ghost, you won't be able to kill her, right? So play safe, know your power spikes, these 3, and try to only go in when you land your E, right? And try not to miss your E. Seriously, if you miss E into Vayne matchup or into any of these range matchups, it's really ugly, man. It really gets horrible, right? On the bright side, unlike Quinn, she can't really influence the map too much if you let her walk out of lane, so you should be fine. Wukong, another horribly, horribly difficult matchup. If he doesn't take Ignite, you do kill him level 1 with W, right? If you kite him properly, right? If you kite him properly, you kill him. So try not to be in his face and take all of his damage, because he has a lot of damage. Try to use EQ into him, because he does have his clone and his Q. 2 ways where he can avoid your Q. And you do get the ability to beat him once you get some tanky items, right? But that's for teleport Wukong. Ignite Wukong is completely different. Versus Ignite Wukong, you're basically not laning, right? Ignite Wukong is so insane. You're not going to kill him ever, right? And his level 6 power spike is staggering. Plus Ignite, you're not killing him level 6, right? You're not killing him even with Tabi, because his ultimate does so much damage and it's not auto attacks, so it doesn't even matter, right? So it's like plus ignite, right? So yeah, if he's ignite, honestly just give up, wait for your jungler, and play with your team. Get Sweeper. Honestly, Sweeper is very, very useful against him. Now that they kind of gave him 50 new abilities with his clone for no reason, right? Thanks, Riot. You have to get your Sweeper to like make sure it's him, and don't waste your abilities on the clone. Dude, honestly, Wukong is such a disgusting product of 200 years of game design, but it is what it is. Ignite Wukong is impossible. TP Wukong, you can do some stuff into him if you land your Q, if you kite him properly, if you use your E properly, and if you tank up properly. But against Ignite Wukong, that's Teleport Wukong, that's manageable. Ignite Wukong, not manageable, don't even try, right? Like, the worst part is he doesn't have to be like a good or an intelligent player to beat you with Ignite. He can be like the dumbest motherfucker on the planet and still kill you. Yasuo. Honestly, a minor matchup. If he's crazy good, he does pose a threat level 1 and 2. So just wait until level 3 and just murder him, honestly. That's basically it. Same with Yone. He's annoying until level 1 and 2, but wait until level 3 and kill him. Versus Yasuo, you want to basically make sure that post 6, you E him when he knocks you up, because during the E, he will be stunned, and he can't use his ultimate, right? And against him, get Tabis and just run him down. Honestly, it's not even that difficult after level 3 with your CC. Against Yone, as long as you catch him outside of his E, he is just dead. So just catch him outside of his E, all in him. He's not that tanky. He can't really do much into you because you just outpressure him so hard. So yeah. Yorick, kind of like a major matchup. The basic idea is this. You beat Yorick, but Yorick plus his ghouls beat you, right? So don't get trapped in this cage. Don't get hit by that skill shot, and you can kill him. But if you get hit by these things, you are basically dead, especially at level 6 when he has Maiden. So here's the basic idea. What I do is a lot of Yorick's players will use both of these things at the same time, right? So I personally just flash towards them, and use my ghost to murder him, because if he misses those two, I win the all-in. But like, as a less mechanically intensive Darius player, you can just wait for him to mess up those abilities and go for an all-in, right? If he has no ghouls built up, try to hold the lane against him so he can't touch it, right? If he walks up, try to all-in him and kill him, right? W level 1 is quite effective if he's stupid and walks up for no reason. Honestly, York is one of Darius' counter picks, so, like, but things there's like 3 York players in the world, so good luck. Like, you're not gonna fight many Yorks, but in case you do, just follow the hints I just gave you. And once you hit 3-4 items, you do outscale him too. He's kind of horrible late game. The only thing he's good at is taking down turrets, so you should be doing way more than him in team fights. So yeah, just don't die to him, because if you die to him, say goodbye to your turret, right? And yeah, sorry for getting a bit rushed at the end, but this video is 80 minutes long, and I honestly cannot be bothered anymore. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video, guys. If you want any additional support on any of these matchups, check out my Darius guide. Strength is absolute. I'll leave a link for it in the description, or you can just Google it. And this guide has all of the matchups, right? They are a bit out of order in terms of like Malphite should be minor instead of tiny, etc, etc, etc. But like, I have so much text of like advice here, so if you didn't like the advice, if the advice I gave you in like the video was not enough, you can come in here and read all of this, and there's a lot of great information. A bit outdated, but most of it is great, so go check that out. And yeah, I am tired. I want tea. That's the end of this video, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and God, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.